So well, to continue, actually I had stopped discussing about this worm propagation models. So as I said, people who have come up with the malware, so definitely they'll have you know an enthusiasm to know how much of systems the malware has actually infected, how it has been landed up in the market. So this the N2 to know, so definitely they'll have they require a model which can actually identify that the length, sorry, not the length, the rate at which the systems are being affected. So that is done with the help of these two types of model, that is, one is simple epidemic model, the other one is Karmak model. Okay, so this first one, simple epidemic model, what we have, it is used to study the spread of this infectious disease among the human in an appropriate starting point. Okay, so the same concept actually even they rely on. The model, it assumes that there are only two types of entities in the population. Okay, one, either a individual is susceptible or he is infected, and an infected individual can infect a susceptible person. So these are the two types of entities that we could find in the available population. So once infected, a person remains infected and does not recover. Okay, I'm speaking about this simple epidemic model. What are the assumptions it actually does? Okay, so what it does is it will just take the size as n. So let n be the size of total population, and then it has got a we have a formula which says like beta dt is equal to delta of t divided by. So we have this formula. So what this differential equation, not formula actually, it is a differential equation. So this whatever the data that has been analyzed, so those figures will be substituted in the differential equation, whatever we have. So thereby it will be predicting what is the rate at which the virus has infected the systems. Okay, so similarly we have one more type of model, that is Karmak. So this model, it is more accurate model when compared to the simple epidemic model. So here this KM model, in short, it is more accurately models the spread of human infectious disease by considering three categories of people. Instead of two, it will go with three categories of people: those who are susceptible, and those who are infectious, and those who are they are neither, that is, individual who are cured or those who have succumbed to the disease. Okay, so initially all the individuals in the populations are susceptible. So it will assume that like all are not assumption, it is actually true. So all are susceptible. So later on it will just group the people who gets infected, and next it will start grouping the people who have cured after the infection, and the people who have not at all got infected. Okay, so it will use some model, something like this, and it will find the rate at which the virus has infected or harmed the system. So next we have this topological worms. So topological worms, first one is email worm, as I already mentioned. So email worms are the worms where it will first target a victim. So I mean to say, in the network, it will just look for the vulnerable machines. So any machine, if it shows its weakness, so it will definitely target that machine, and it will send the worm into that. It will just make a path for the worm to go reach the vulnerable machine, and the main target within the machine is the email box. So there it will fetch all the contacts, and the same gets propagated across the network, infecting the systems. Okay, when it comes to point or peer-to-peer network, so here we have the restriction, not actually the restriction, but it is point-to-point network is a massively distributed system of computers where each peer or node it will play the role of both the client and server, and that is the functionality or the feature of peer-to-peer networks. Okay, because the same system it behaves both as client and server, and they are used principally for sharing the files, so which may contain the songs, images, videos, etc. So each peer it maintains within itself a shared folder of files, and that is willing to share with others. And also user do not download files from a central server, but their peers located across the globe. So they are immensely popular, as evidenced by the fact that a very large portion of internet traffic is comprised of this P2P packets. Okay, so to see how this P2P worm spread, it is important to understand how this first we have to understand how this peer-to-peer or point-to-point network operates. So most of the point-to-point networks use a overlay network, which is logical network of peers. So two peers are said to be neighbors at any given point of time if there is an active TCP connection between them. And here some potential ways in which the P2P worms may spread. So first is, one of the simplest is for a malicious peer to respond positively to any query. So some query will be sent, and this peer, I mean to say the malicious peer, will respond positively. So immediately the worm will get enter into the peer. Okay, so if the requester if we choose to download the file from a malicious peer, so the later it sends a infected file, so whose name is changed to match that of the requested file. The infected file, it contains a worm which passes on its infection to the requester, and once infected, the requester mimics the behavior of the malicious peer, thus helping to propagate the infection. So alternatively, various popular files stored in the shared folder of a peer may be infected, and when any of them is downloaded, the infection spreads to the shared folder of the requesting peer. And the second type is peers in a given P2P network run the same peer-to-peer protocol. So there are usually very different implementation of this protocol, leading to little software diversity. Okay, so an exploitable buffer overflow vulnerability is one popular implementation, which is actually a familiar starting point. So one aspect of this peer-to-peer worm is that they may result in no apparent traffic anomaly. Okay, so an intrusion detection system monitoring the network traffic is unlikely to raise an alert. So finally, again, one of the case study we have is XSS worm case study. So this case study you guys can simply go through. So this XSS worm, this was SAMI. Okay, this was unleashed in October 2005. So how did this worm manage to spoil things? That is what has been discussed there. And next we have this mobile malware. So whatever I discussed till now, it was with the perspective with the systems. Okay, but now in particular to mobile malware. So here Bluetooth and botnets we have. Okay, so first one is Bluetooth. So as you all know, Bluetooth initial days, when Bluetooth the concept came into picture, we didn't have any connectivity or anything as such. I mean to say, for the connection to get established, we need not give any passwords, or we were not working with any security levels as such. Okay, so how this virus would propagate from one mobile to the other mobile was one way was through Bluetooth. So any two or more devices could get connected through Bluetooth. So that was definitely happening at that point of time. So for a file to get transferred from one mobile to the another mobile, one way a person could rely was through Bluetooth. So for that, what was he supposed to do? What is the procedure that they were following is, so if I want to get connected to a mobile, so then what I'll do is I'll just switch on the Bluetooth option whatever I have. So it will scan for the nearby devices. So it will scan, and a set of devices would get discovered, and whichever the device which I am intending to get connected, I'll just click on that. So during this process, so that the discovery and all that happens and the file to get transmitted, so this virus can get propagated during this Bluetooth connection could get established. So any person in between can simply send or broadcast this file to the discovered mobile. Okay, so if I keep my mobile Bluetooth on, so anyone can simply get connected to my mobile and send the file. So in the very initial days I am speaking about. So since it was prone to such vulnerability, again the system got enhanced. So during that process, what they introduced was the link level security. So what the enhancement was done is, I'll just generate a password. So whichever mobile has to get connected to my mobile, so they have to enter the password. So this was actually happening. So again, these people managed to hack the password and get paired with the infectious mobile, or the intruder or the hacker who actually wants to corrupt our or wants the virus to get entered into our mobile. So this was all about Bluetooth. And finally we have this botnet. So botnet, with the Storm botnet is a case study again. So what are botnets? As I already mentioned, so it is army army of compromised computers, or simply I can call them as bots. They are connected to the internet, and they are remotely controlled by the bot master. Okay. So the earliest botnets were a collection of zombies that participated in distributed denial of service attack. Okay, so it is like not simply attacking or performing or targeting one server, but instead in the fashion of distributed denial of service. So the emergence of this botnets, it's closely linked to the motive of financial gain that is behind many recent cyber attack. Okay, and they are often used to send the spam mail on behalf of third parties. For example, like bot programs may contain the keyloggers and other forms of spyware that capture the sensitive personal information such as password, credit card numbers, and send these to the bot master. So botnets have always been used as an extortion tool. Pay up or your website will be bombarded by denial or distributed denial of service attack. So these type of it is basically a extortion tool. So how does this how does you definitely will have a question of how does a computer become a bot? Okay, see, these bots are created in a way similar to many of traditional the Tarzan, worm, or virus infections. A common vector of propagation is again here, it is email that contains an infected attachment. So another is through downloading a malicious web page containing scripts that exploit vulnerability in certain browsers or application software. A bot infection, it may also be propagated by bots themselves by scanning the internet for vulnerable machines. So finally, what I can say is open file shares and internet relay chatting, what we do, that is multicasting messages, have also been widely used for spreading the infection. So one important difference between a bot and a computer infected by this traditional worm, virus or Trojan is that a bot needs to communicate with specific nodes in the botnet to receive fresh commands. Okay, a bot may be ordered to send spam or to launch a distributed denial of service attack on site, say some site. Some of the nodes in the botnet play the role of command and control. Okay, and they receive commands from botmaster and disseminate these to the rest of the bots. So such type of things happens when it comes to botnets. And again, this Storm botnet is a case study which you guys can simply go through. Okay, so this is all about the chapter virus, worms and other malwares. Thank you guys.